Exposed. My parents stole $25K before my birthday, then I discovered a hidden inheritance. Jake Thompson had always imagined his 18th birthday as the bright dawn of independence, a time when he would take the first step toward chasing his dreams. The summer air buzzed with excitement, and as his friends planned surprises, he felt that thrilling flutter in his chest. But that joy was ripped away like a sledgehammer to glass when he stumbled upon a devastating truth. His parents had squandered his $25,000 college fund on gambling. The shock of betrayal somehow ground deeper than anger. It left him feeling hollow. How could they betray the very principles they taught him? His family's loyalty had always been the bedrock of his life. Standing in the living room, the walls closing in around him, Jake's mind raced. Memories of hard work, late-night talks about integrity, and family loyalty came crashing like waves. The tight-knit community he grew up in felt like a prison now, its familiar streets mocking him. He could almost hear the whispers around town about his family. What would they think? Dreams of college slipped away like sand through his fingers. Tears stung his eyes, blurring his vision of the future. But just when despair threatened to swallow him whole, community rallied. Neighbors dropped by with words of encouragement and meals. His best friend, Ben, sat beside him in silence, solidarity heavy in the air. It ignited something fierce in Jake. The realization that he had not lost everything stoked a flame of determination inside him. He wouldn't be broken so easily. He would find a way not just for him but to stand up for the values he clung to. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as shadows began to engulf him, Jake learned of a hidden inheritance from a long-lost relative, a glimmer of hope cutting through the dark clouds. Excitement bubbled deep within, but another storm brewed. He faced a moral quagmire. Should he confront his parents about their betrayal, or choose to adhere to the values of forgiveness? The weight of that decision felt unbearable as the family gathered for a meeting. Tension thickened the air, an unspoken truth crackling like electricity. Jake's heart raced, pounding against his ribcage, as he exposed his findings. The pressure boiled over. Emotions erupted. Tears were shed, words like shrapnel flew around the room. He watched his parents crumble before him, their own guilt laid bare, hearts exposed. Apologies spilled forth, yet amidst it all the questions loomed. Could he forgive them? Would he sacrifice his dreams for family loyalty? The balance shifted, a delicate dance of love and betrayal. Jake stood at the precipice of a life-altering decision. The weight of expectation and the cries of support from his friends yanked at him in opposite directions, leaving him feeling both powerful and utterly powerless. The moment teetered on the edge. What lay ahead remained a mystery, heavy with the burden of choice, waiting for him to take the next step. Jake's breath felt heavy as he sat in the living room, caught in the aftermath of his family's unraveling. The tears had subsided, leaving behind a fragile silence filled with the weight of unspoken words. His parents, once pillars of strength, now looked small and lost, their eyes filled with regret and fear. They had always been his anchors, but now he sensed their fragility. What were you thinking? Jake's voice trembled slightly, more from hurt than anger. It echoed in the room like an accusation hanging between them. His mother, eyes glistening, tried to speak, but the words seemed stuck deep in her throat. His father's face was a mask of shame, unable to meet his son's gaze. Jake wondered if they even recognized the man he was becoming amidst their spiral of mistakes. Silence suffocated the air, and Jake rose abruptly, escaping the gaze of disappointment that loomed in the room. Outside, the summer sun warmed his skin, but he felt cold inside, an icy void where dreams of a bright future once thrived. He walked to the old swing set in the backyard, its paint chipped and peeling, the same swing he had used as a child to fly high, if only for a few moments. Sitting down, he pushed off gently, the creaking sound mirroring the turmoil brewing in his mind. Thoughts spiraled around the hidden inheritance, a seed of hope amid the wreckage. Did he even want the money? Was it tainted now with the reminders of lost trust? He felt torn between the desire to find a new path and the loyalty pulling him back to a broken family. Just then, Ben appeared at the gate, his expression a mixture of concern and encouragement. He jogged over, sitting on the grass beside Jake. "You okay?" Ben's voice cut through the noise of Jake's thoughts. There was a sincerity there that grounded him. "I don't know, man. I don't feel right about any of this," Jake admitted, staring at the ground. "I found out about the inheritance, but how can I even think about accepting it with everything happening right now?" Ben shifted slightly, resting his elbows on his knees. "Listen, it's not just about the money. It's about what you want, what you believe in. Do you want to take the risk on yourself?" Jake let Ben's words settle in. He had always dreamed of being more than his parents' decisions. Shouldn't he be the one to dictate his own future? A flicker of a plan began to form in his mind, fueled by Ben's unwavering support. Maybe he could navigate a new course that honored both his dreams and his values. "But what if I accept the money and it tears us apart even more?" Jake's voice cracked. Ben met his gaze, unwavering. "That's a risk worth considering. But you can also use that inheritance as a way to forge your own identity, a way to rebuild. It doesn't have to mean abandoning them or their mistakes." Jake absorbed Ben's words, and a surge of determination washed over him. He felt the flicker of possibility ignite within. Perhaps he could use the inheritance not just for himself but as a means to create a space for healing, a bridge between the rift. Feeling lighter somehow, Jake stood up, brushing off the damp grass from his jeans. "You're right. I need to talk to them again, set some boundaries." As he walked back to the house, the path seemed clearer. His heart beat with purpose, but as he stepped through the door, he could sense a new tension in the air, something unsaid. A secret still looming, ready to break the fragile truce they'd begun to form. "Mom, Dad, there's something I need to know," Jake declared, the resolve in his voice stronger than before. "What else are you hiding from me?" And in that moment, the reality of his situation hung dangerously in the balance, an unfolding drama waiting for the next twist. Jake's heart raced as he stood in the doorway, the unease in the air palpable. His parents exchanged uneasy glances, their faces shifting from regret to apprehension. They weren't ready for this. Yet Jake was. The tightly wound threads of his childhood felt frayed, and he wanted to understand what they hadn't told him. "Jake," his father began, but Jake cut him off, needing to push through this wall of silence. "Don't." The urgency in his voice surprised even him. "Please just tell me what's going on. I've already found out so much. If there's more, I need to hear it from you." His mother sighed, her hands trembling slightly as she folded them in her lap. "It's complicated, honey. We didn't want to burden you with everything, especially not now, not now. When is a good time to be honest?" Jake felt his voice rising, but it was the hurt and confusion bubbling to the surface, demanding recognition. "I can handle it. Just say it." Another heavy silence settled in. Jake watched as his father ran a hand through his hair, a telltale sign of his distress. Finally, his father shifted, finally meeting Jake's gaze. "There are things that happen with the inheritance, with the money your grandparents left us. It's not as simple as it seems." Jake's stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" His mother swallowed hard, her voice barely more than a whisper. "We were struggling before, and when we found out about the inheritance, we thought it would set everything right. We made some choices that, well, they weren't the right ones." "Choices?" Jake exhaled sharply, his emotions spilling out like a dam bursting. "You stole money from me, took secrets, and now you're telling me you made choices? You broke trust, and you think that calling it a choice makes it acceptable?" His father's expression grew pained. "We were scared, Jake. We thought it would fix everything. We didn't think we would end up losing you too. They were all just scared, weren't they?" The harsh reality hit Jake hard, bypassing his anger and sinking deep into sorrow. Betrayal mingled with the remnants of love he still held for them. "Did you guys think I wouldn't find out?" he asked, feeling small. "Or that I wouldn't understand if you had just told me the truth?" "I don't know," his mother finally confessed, tears spilling down her cheeks. "We thought we could protect you." "From what?" he shot back. "From knowing you failed? From knowing you lied? That's not protection. That's a prison." "I didn't mean for it to come out this way," she murmured, her voice breaking. "I wanted to shield you from the mess we've made." Jake clenched his fists, feeling a mix of anger and sadness swell inside him. But in trying to protect me, you made it worse. You made it all feel fake. As the weight of his words hung heavy in the air, Jake grasped the edge of the kitchen counter, steadying himself. The reality of their situation felt like a brick wall, harsh and unyielding. If he accepted this inheritance, it would change everything. Could he use it as a bridge to healing, or would it only create a canyon? What will you do now? His mother's voice was uncertain, a fragile thing, barely holding together. I'll figure it out, he said, a resolve slowly building within him. But this is the last time you hide anything from me. There was a long pause, each of them lost in their own thoughts. But Jake felt something crack within him, a shift, a resolve to forge a new path. Before he could dwell on it too much, his phone buzzed in his pocket, startling him out of the moment. It's Ben, Jake said, glancing at the screen. I need to take this. As he stepped outside again, the weight of the house faded behind him. He knew the conversation with Ben would lead somewhere pivotal. But what awaited him next could forever change the course of their relationship, and the future he envisioned. Hey, what's up? He answered, unable to shake the feeling that the real drama was just beginning to unfold. The buzz in his chest quickened. What Ben was about to share could change everything. Jake, you won't believe what I just found out. Ben's voice crackled with urgency. It's about the inheritance in your parents. Jake felt his heart drop. What now? Jake, you need to hear this, Ben said, his voice low but urgent. I was talking to my uncle, and he mentioned something about your grandparents. It's not just about the inheritance. There's more. Jake took a step back, bracing himself against the rough wooden railing of his porch. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows, and he felt exposed, like a character in a play with all the wrong emotions on display. He swallowed hard, trying to keep his composure. What do you mean, more? Before Ben could answer, Jake's mind raced ahead. Was there some kind of hidden clause in the inheritance? Or worse, had there been more secrets? The uncertainty gnawed at him, but he pushed it down, needing to focus on what his friend was about to say. There might have been issues with the will, Ben continued, the urgency in his tone palpable. Your grandparents, they weren't completely stable financially or mentally. There's talk about how your parents might have manipulated things to get more than what was rightfully theirs. The words landed heavy on Jake's heart. Manipulated? It made sense. He glanced back towards the door, where his parents were likely still grappling with their own lies and mistakes. The idea that his grandparents might have been victimized in some way weighed heavily on him. Are you sure about this? Jake asked, fighting to maintain a steady voice. This isn't some rumor, is it? I swear I wouldn't tell you if I wasn't certain, Ben said, and Jake could feel the sincerity through the phone. But there's a catch. If you want the full picture, you might need to confront your parents again. They've been hiding a lot. Jake wanted to scream. He felt trapped between two worlds, the world of innocence he had known, and the stark reality that his parents were entangled in deceit. What do you suggest I do? He whispered, voice trembling with frustration. Maybe ask them about the missing funds. About how they justified what they did. Sometimes exposing things, and I mean really facing them, is the best way to clear the air, Ben replied, a marker of strength in his tone. Looking out into his yard, Jake saw how the leaves danced with a soft breeze, a gentle reminder that despite the turmoil within him, life would go on. He felt that familiar fire ignite in his chest, the resolve to find the truth no matter the cost. I won't let this go. I need to know everything. It's time for real conversations, not just half-truths. After saying goodbye, Jake took a deep breath, trying to calm the racing thoughts. Each inhale felt more profound than the last, filling him with fiery determination. As he stepped back inside the house, the weight of dread clung to him, but so did an inkling of hope. Was it even possible? Could they, together, come out stronger if he unearthed the truth? The thought held promise against the chaos. Jake walked toward the living room, the air thick with tension. He could feel the eyes of his parents on him as he entered, expecting an awkward silence. But he wouldn't let it remain this way. Mom, Dad, we need to talk. I know more than you think. It's time to get it all out on the table, he declared, standing firm. He watched their expressions shift, colors draining from their faces, shadows flickering like ghosts of the past. This was his moment. He wouldn't be the child they wanted to hide behind their mistakes anymore. As he set the tone for what was to come, He wondered. Would they finally break down their walls and face what they had done? Or would the truth fracture them beyond repair? The answers lay just beyond the next breath, waiting to unfold. Jake stood in the living room, the air thick with tension. His heart raced as he scanned his parents' faces. His mom's eyes darted, unwilling to meet his gaze. His dad clenched his jaw, the muscles twitching as if fighting to keep secrets locked away. "Jake, let us not jump to conclusions," his father said, voice strained but steady. "There are things you don't understand." "Things I don't understand?" Jake echoed, frustration bubbling. "You mean the things you've hidden from me? The truth about my grandparents?" His mother's face paled. "Honey, it's not as simple as it can't be more complicated than stealing money from your own parents." The words burst out of him raw and pointed. They went silent, eyes wide, as if he'd slapped them. Jake felt a flicker of satisfaction he had gotten their attention. "I spoke to Ben," he continued, pushing past the instinct to back down. "He said there were issues with the will. Financial instability. Manipulation. Did you take advantage of them?" His dad took a deep breath, the kind that seemed to squeeze all the air out of the room. "We were helping them. They didn't know how to manage their money. Your grandparents were in a fragile state." "Helping? Or taking?" Jake pressed. "What kind of helping involves skimming money off the top?" "I want the truth." Mom looked down, her hands trembling. "We did what we thought was best," she said softly. "We wanted to protect you, Jake." "Protect me?" He shot back, incredulous. "You're shielding me from you? You're the villains in this story." Jake's heart pounded as silence descended like a lead weight. He felt the air shift, heaviness settling in the corners of the room. Anger collided with fear, and suddenly he felt small. Yet he wouldn't back down. "Not this time. I deserve to know what really happened. You owe me that much." His dad's eyes reddened. There were difficult choices. The family was in trouble. "We didn't want to burden you with that. That's all you've done." Jake shouted, the tears he'd been holding back now spilling out. "You've burdened me my whole life with your choices. Don't you see? I grew up with a lie." Mom stepped forward, her hands raised in defense. "It wasn't meant to be a lie. We thought what? That I wouldn't be able to handle the truth? I'm not a kid anymore. I'm old enough to face the reality." His voice cracked and he felt heartbreak pour from him, mingling with the anger. Jake Dad's voice was softer now, filled with regret, with a hint of guilt. "Please just let us explain." Jake shook his head, his mind swirling. The truth he'd fought so hard to dig up felt heavy. His parents weren't just cocooned in their lies. They were trapped in their own fear. "I have to know everything," he forced out. "Tell me about the will. About the money you took. I can't carry this anymore." "Wait, there's more to it." His mother broke in suddenly. "We didn't take everything. There was a hidden account. Your grandparents left something. A legacy for you." Jake froze. His breath caught in his throat, heart hammering louder. "What are you talking about?" His dad glanced at Mom nervously before looking back at Jake. "There's an inheritance, but it comes with conditions. Things you don't know yet, things that could change everything." "Change everything?" Jake repeated, his mind racing. There was more than just the betrayal. There was a chance, an actual legacy waiting for him, buried under the rubble of lies. He took a step back, processing, breath hitching in his throat. "What else? Please, what do I need to know?" His parents exchanged a glance, tension crackling between them. The truth, it seemed, was just within reach, but would uncovering it bring healing or hurt them all even deeper? The air felt electric with possibility, but Jake's heart raced with doubt. He had opened a door, but now he had to decide if he was ready to walk through. Would he dare to explore what was on the other side? Jake stood there, his heart racing as the weight of his parents' words hung in the air like a dense fog. The mention of a hidden inheritance sent his mind into overdrive. What did it mean? Hidden accounts? Money left just for him? It felt surreal, a glimmer of light in the darkness that his family had cast over him. But with it came a tightening in his chest. This was no fairy tale. "Are you two really claiming that my grandparents hid money from me? From all of us?" The disbelief dripped from his tone, and he took another step back, trying to create space between them. His dad swallowed hard, searching for the right words. "It's complicated, Jake. They might have been protecting you in their own way. The money was supposed to be a security for your future. Or a way to control me. Jake shot back, bitterness rising. What are the conditions? What twisted rules did they set? His mother shook her head, her expression pained. They didn't want to burden you with their troubles. They hoped you'd have a fresh start, free from all this mess. Mess? Jake echoed angrily. This isn't just a mess. It's fraud. And all this time I thought they loved me, cared for me. Instead, it was all about keeping me in the dark. Jake, listen, his dad tried again, but the words fell flat. No. Jake interrupted. No more excuses. I'm old enough to hear it all. You're twisting words to make this sound noble, but it just feels rotten. Silence enveloped them again. Jake paced the living room, feeling his pulse quicken with every step. Each beat in his ears screamed for clarity, for resolution. What do I need to do to find this inheritance? He asked, his voice suddenly steady. His parents exchanged glances, the tension palpable. Finally, his mother spoke. You'll have to sift through the paperwork, and there's a bank involved, but it's not just about the money. There are assets tied to it, and some of the stipulations are, well, difficult. Difficult how? Jake pressed, urgency shaping his voice. Your grandparents wanted the money to come with lessons, Dad replied cautiously. They thought it would help you grow, prepare you for responsibilities. It's not straightforward. I don't care. Jake shouted, his emotions bubbling over. I just want to know what they really thought of me. What did they want me to earn? His mom looked as if she might dissolve into tears. They loved you, Jake. They believed in you. That's why they set up conditions. They wanted to make sure you were ready when the time came. Ready for what? To find out my parents are con artists? He felt a scalding mix of betrayal and longing twist in his gut. Jake, we loved them too, his father said softly, voice trembling. This isn't just about you. It's about us trying to navigate a rough family history. We made mistakes, but it's not too late for you. The air felt heavy with unshed tears and unspoken words. The legacy his grandparents left behind felt like both gift and curse. Each moment lingered, stretched thin with possibility yet dampened by pain. Jake clenched his fists, battling a mixture of rage and hope. What do I have to do to access the money? He asked resolutely. His dad took a deep breath, eyes swirling with fear and remorse. You will need to confront the past, Jake. It won't be easy. They left behind clues. You might have to face the truth buried in their old home, their secrets. What kind of secrets? Jake replied, a hot flash of determination igniting within him. Dad's grip tightened on the edge of the sofa, the concern etched in his features. Things that could change everything you think you know about us and them. A shiver ran down Jake's spine. He was walking towards a place filled with darkness, yet the light of his potential inheritance shimmered just beyond reach. Could he uncover the truth? Could he handle what might lie ahead? As he wrestled with his thoughts, one question stood out: was he ready for the unknown? Ready to confront old shadows for the chance at a new dawn? The stakes had never felt higher. Jake's mind raced as he stood in the dim light of the living room, the weight of his parents' secrets now a tangible thing pressing down on him. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown, urging him to move, to dig deeper. But where to start? The vague promise of an inheritance felt like a taunting mirage. Look, Jake, his mother said, breaking the silence, her voice quivering. We can help you. Let us. He shot her a glance torn between anger and longing. You don't get it. You've kept me in the dark, and now you want to play the good parents? It's too late for that. His dad exhaled heavily, shifting restlessly on the couch. This isn't just on us, Jake. It's about your grandparents' choices too. If you're willing to face this head-on, we'll be right there with you. What if I don't want you there? Jake's words stung with the venom of betrayal. What if I want nothing to do with you? His mom flinched like he had struck her, but a fire ignited in her eyes. Then you might lose a chance not just to discover the money, but to understand who your grandparents were and maybe even who you are. The hint of something more, something deeper made Jake's gut twist. Was this about more than money? Did it lead to discovering pieces of himself he never knew existed? Fine, he said, struggling to keep the edge of desperation out of his voice. Where do I find these clues? Your grandparents had a small safe in their old house, Dad said, his voice low. They kept important things in their documents, letters. They always said it was a time capsule for the future. A safe, Jake muttered. Great. Just what I want, another puzzle. His mind spun as he remembered the house, a rundown relic of his childhood. The faded blue paint peeled like old memories. It had grown heavier with abandonment since his grandparents passed. All right, let us go there, Jake said, determination coursing through him. Right now. His parents exchanged uncertain glances, but something in Jake's demeanor gave them pause. He was not a child to be consoled anymore. He was ready for truth, ready for answers. As they piled into the car, the weight of the moment sat with them. The engine roared to life, a sound that cut through the anxiety that hung heavy in the air. Jake's heart drummed as they drove, each bump on the road a reminder of the bumps yet to come in this journey. The house loomed ahead, a ghost of nostalgia mixed with dread. Overgrown weeds surrounded it, and the shutters hung askew like an old woman with tired eyes. The car crunched against the gravel driveway, each sound echoing the gravity of what lay ahead. Jake, his dad, started, but Jake was already out of the car, resolute. He stood on the porch, inhaling the stale air thick with past burdens, a cavalcade of childhood memories flooding back. Was he ready to step into that world again? What would he find there? Was it treasure or a wreck of disappointment? Do you want us to come in with you? His mom asked softly. He hesitated, his hand resting on the door. This was his battle now, and he wasn't sure if he wanted their presence to cloud the confrontation he had with the echoes of his past. No, he said finally, turning back to face them. I need to do this alone. The door creaked as he pushed it open, revealing the darkness inside. He stepped across the threshold, each footfall echoing like a heartbeat in an empty room. The air was stale, thick with dust and forgotten secrets. Inside felt both familiar and alien, like falling into a dream where things felt right yet terribly wrong. He glanced around, searching for any sign of the safe his father mentioned, and then he saw it, an old, battered trunk in the corner, half covered in dust. A heart-stopping thought surged through him. Could this be what he was looking for? Taking a deep breath, Jake moved closer, the anticipation thrumming in his veins. What secrets could be hidden inside? Would this be the answer, or merely a deeper question than before? He knelt down, his fingers trembling as he brushed away the dust, the thrill of discovery sparking a flicker of hope. But just as he reached for the latch, a sound rang out, cracking through the stillness. Had he really come all this way for answers, or had he disturbed something that was never supposed to be unearthed? The question hung in the air, swirling with the dust motes around him, as he braced himself for whatever was about to happen next. Jake froze, his heart pounding in his chest. The sound was low, almost like the groan of ancient wood settling under an unseen weight. He paused, his hand hovering above the trunk's latch, uncertainty flooding his mind. Something about the noise, a whisper of a memory or a part of the house itself, made him hesitate. Hello? He called out, his voice a thread of sound, masking the tremor within. Silence answered him, a thick, suffocating blanket. Maybe he was just hearing things. The house was a relic, after all, creaking and sighing under the weight of history. He rolled his shoulders back, determination hardening his resolve. This was his moment, and he wasn't going to let a noise scare him off. With a swift movement, he pulled the latch open. The trunk lid creaked, and he raised it slowly, as if he were lifting the lid on a treasure chest or burial ground. Dust swirled in the dim light, and as it settled, a jumble of papers and small trinkets was revealed inside. Jake leaned closer, his breath catching in his throat. There were old letters, their edges yellowed and brittle, tangled with black and white photographs, memories frozen in time. A delicate locket gleamed dimly among the clutter, drawing his eye. It all felt so personal, so intimate, like secrets left in a family journal. He picked up a letter, the handwriting elegant yet unfamiliar, curling and looping across the page. It was written in a style far removed from the hurried scrawls of today. Curiosity propelled him to unfold it. The words were expressive, revealing a longing that echoed through the decades. Dear Ruth, he read aloud, I hope this letter finds you well, though I fear time has drifted us too far apart. Suddenly another noise interrupted. A heavy thud from upstairs. Jake whipped his head around, his heart racing. The house felt too quiet, too solicitous. The trunk, open and overflowing with pieces of the past, suddenly felt like a loaded gun. A potential powder keg that could ignite at any moment. He swallowed hard, fighting to drown out the frightening thoughts that swirled in his head. Maybe it was just the house settling, but still, he couldn't shake the growing sense of dread that clung to him. Maybe I should just. His voice drifted off, uncertainty creeping back in. The trunk held promises of the past, but the sounds around him urged him to consider leaving. Still, a pull deeper than fear kept him rooted to the spot. He sifted through the letters with renewed urgency, something drawing him to a particular envelope tied neatly with a thread. It bore no return address, only the unmistakable writing of his grandmother. Jake felt a chill run down his spine as he opened the envelope. Inside was a letter that felt different from the rest, heavier somehow. With each word he unearthed pieces of a life woven with hopes, fears, and dreams. But underneath it all lay a shocking revelation, a mention of a bank account. And should anything happen, please use the funds wisely, as they are the last remnants of our journey. His hand shook as he let the words sink in. This wasn't just about memories or simple keepsakes. It spoke of legacies, of lifetimes converging into his own. Just then, another noise rippled through the stairwell above him, this time. A soft thumping footsteps. Panic surged, tightening around his chest like a vice. Who else was in the house? He needed to leave, to escape whatever had answered his call. Jake's heart raced as he began to pack the letters back into the trunk, slipping the envelope tightly into his pocket. The accumulation of knowledge was overwhelming. His grandparents' secret might be dangerous, but it also offered the first real connection to them that he had ever felt. As he hastily moved toward the door, he turned back to the trunk, wrestling with the compulsion to uncover more. Was he ready to face what lay beyond? Or would he risk everything for hidden truths that could upend his world? Another thud upstairs made up his mind. He had to go. He burst through the front door just as he heard a voice. Someone was in the house. The door slammed shut behind him, and he ran down the steps, adrenaline coursing through him like fire. But as he reached the car, he realized the storm was just beginning. What else had his grandparents hidden? What did those letters truly mean for him? And the real question loomed. Was he ready to unearth more, or would the truth threaten to consume him entirely? Jake stumbled to his car, heart racing, breath hitching in his throat. The engine roared to life like a startled beast. As he sat there gripping the wheel, he glanced back at the house looming behind him. The walls felt as if they were watching, monitoring his every move. An overwhelming mixture of fear and curiosity threatened to crush him. What was upstairs? Who was in the house? His mind raced through possibilities. A relative? A stranger? Or something else entirely? He hit the brakes, parked under a gnarly oak, and wrestled with the decision. Should he stay and investigate further, or run and leave the mystery unsolved? He pictured the envelope in his pocket, the weight of it sitting heavy against his thigh, a promise, a burden. He had stepped into a world of shadows, only to find secrets more tangled than he could have imagined. The thought of some hidden inheritance, a legacy from his grandparents, ignited a flicker of excitement amidst his terror. But what if that legacy came with its own set of dangers? What if the truth was better left buried? Taking a deep breath, Jake opened the car door but hesitated. He looked back at the house one last time. The windows glimmered like eyes locking onto his, daring him to come back inside. With each footstep he took back toward the front door, dread vied with determination in his gut. He pushed the door open slowly, every creak of the hinges echoing through the house. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of must and memories. As he stepped inside, he felt both brave and foolish, as if he had just crossed a threshold into a past best left undisturbed. "Hello?" He called out again, his voice barely a whisper. Silence. The trunk awaited him, a siren's call for his attention. The trunk was no longer just a collection of old letters, it was a gateway to understanding his family's history. He didn't know what he was looking for, but instinctively he moved toward it. He needed answers, not just for clarity, but for closure. Jake knelt beside it again, fingers trembling as he sifted through the contents. They weren't just relics, they felt alive, whispering stories of love, regret, and loss. He reached for the delicate locket, opening it to reveal a faded photograph of a woman he recognized as his grandmother. Her eyes looked back at him, filled with secrets of their own. As he turned it over, something fell out. A small key, tarnished but intricate, tumbled into his palm. Confusion settled in. What did it unlock? Was it related to the bank account mentioned in the letter? Then the footsteps upstairs returned, urgent now, and a creak made his blood run cold. They were coming down. Panic ignited anew. He shoved the locket and the key into his pocket. "Jake!" A voice broke through the silence, familiar yet strange. It was his cousin, Emma. "I heard noises. What are you doing here?" The flood of relief swept over him, but with it a new tension. "I didn't think anyone else would come back," he stammered, caught off guard. Emma stepped closer, concern shadowing her face. "You shouldn't be here alone. There's something not right about this place." He swallowed hard, the truth bubbling up inside him like fizzing soda. "Emma, you don't understand. I found something. Letters. There's more to our family than we thought." "Letters? What letters?" she asked, a mix of surprise and concern flickering across her features. Before he could reply, another thud echoed from above, more insistent this time. Both of them turned toward the stairs. It came again, louder, closer, sending a chill down Jake's spine. What was hiding up there? And were they prepared to discover it together, even if it risked tearing their family apart? "What if we find something that changes everything?" Jake whispered, looking into Emma's eyes, both terrified and excited. The air around them crackled with untold truths waiting for them to take the plunge. The voice upstairs called out again, this time, just above a whisper. Would they dare to answer? With the burden of secrets swirling between them, Jake turned to Emma, determination mingling with fear in his eyes. They stood at the crossroads of a family history steeped in shadows and unspoken truths. "We can't just ignore it," he said quietly, gripping her arm tightly. "Whatever's up there, it's part of who we are." Emma's gaze hardened, revealing her own courage beneath the worry. "You're right. But let us be smart about this." They crept toward the staircase, each step echoing like a drumbeat in the heavy silence. The air crackled with anticipation as they ascended slowly, carefully, ready to unearth whatever lay hidden. "Do you think it's related to the letters?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Everything feels connected," Jake replied, feeling the weight of his grandmother's legacy press against his chest. "It's not just about the inheritance anymore. It's about understanding them us." As they reached the landing, Jake quietly pushed open the door to the room at the end of the hall. The sunlight streamed through cracked blinds, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. The room was a time capsule, old furniture, forgotten toys, and so many memories piled high. And then they heard it again, the sound of rustling. Something moved behind the old wardrobe. Fear crawled up Jake's spine, but he gritted his teeth, determined to confront the unknown. "Stay close," he whispered to Emma, his heart thudding erratic with each cautious step. With a swift motion, he threw open the wardrobe doors, its hinges creaking in protest. A narrow passage lay concealed behind the garments, darker than night. "No way," Jake breathed, staring into the inky unknown. Emma pressed closer, her expression a mirror of mixed dread and exhilaration. "Are we going in?" she asked, barely keeping her voice steady. Jake nodded, his heart racing. "We have to. Whatever's in there could change everything." Gathering his courage, Jake stepped into the passage, Emma right behind him. The air turned cooler, heavy with dust and latent energy. They moved deeper, the darkness swelling around them. Flickering doubts brushed against his consciousness, but he pushed through, driven by the need for answers. After what felt like an eternity navigating through the cramped passage, they emerged into a dimly lit room. Ancient boxes cluttered the space, but something caught Jake's eye: a safe, embedded into the wall, its surface scratched and weathered. There was a heavy padlock on it. "Look at this!" Jake exclaimed, rushing closer. "This must be—" "Do you have the key?" Emma interrupted, breathless with urgency. He reached into his pocket, fingers grazing the small, tarnished key he'd found in the trunk. "This has to be it," he whispered, inserting the key into the lock. The mechanism groaned, and the door slowly creaked open, revealing neatly stacked papers and an envelope marked with his name. Jake's heart soared, that familiar mix of hope and anxiety pressure building in his chest. "Open it. What does it say?" Emma urged, leaning in closer. Jake pulled out the envelope with trembling hands. Inside, he found a letter from his grandparents, their words spilling forth like a river of emotion, vibrant and raw. They spoke of love, hope, and an unconditional commitment to family. "We believed in you, Jake," he read, his voice shaking. "The things we did were flawed, but always with intentions to protect you." Tears blurred his vision. They knew everything, he said, shocked. The letter went on to explain the terms of the inheritance, lessons to learn, values to uphold, and a genuine desire for him to own not just the money but the lessons earned through struggle and honesty. Emma pulled him back to reality, glancing nervously toward the entrance. Are we alone? Is someone watching us? Jake shared a look of understanding. There was still something mysterious swirling through this old house. We need to get out of here, he said, folding the letter carefully. Not without understanding this safe as secrets first, Emma insisted, standing firm. If this is truly their last gift, we owe it to them to at least. Look. They began to sift through the contents, uncovering images, historical documents, and a ledger containing more than just financial figures. It was a history of their family, a tale of sacrifices made for love and survival amidst strife. As they browsed the pages, Jake felt a stirring of pride and realization. So many stories, so many origins, he murmured, feeling the weight lift from his shoulders. For the first time, he understood that their family was more than just mistakes. They were people who fought hard to build a legacy that included him. But as they delved deeper, another sound echoed, footsteps once more closing in from behind them. Jake, Emma whispered sharply, her eyes wide as they peered back toward the passage. We have to go now. Grasping the envelope and clenching it tight, Jake rounded on Emma. This is just the beginning. We face this as a family, no more hiding. Together they made for the exit, a newfound strength surging in their hearts as they stepped out into the daylight. The weight of secrecy began to dissolve, transmuted by hope and clarity. They had ventured into the unknown and peeled back layers of deception. But more importantly, Jake had taken the first step toward reclaiming his identity, not only as a son but a beacon for change in his family. Suddenly, he felt the palpable connection of family, an unwavering bond forged through truth and understanding. We're going to be okay, he said softly, sharing a relieved glance with Emma. We can heal together. Outside, the world bloomed with possibility, ready for the next chapter of their lives, a chapter written with courage and honesty. And as the sun dipped low, casting golden rays over the crumbling house that had once loomed threateningly in their lives, Jake felt the dawn of a new beginning. He embraced the challenge ahead. Their roots could dig deep and rise anew. Now they were ready to face whatever came next together. And as the night wrapped around them, they walked forward, hearts lighter, emboldened by their family's truth. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now, and don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.